Hello, good evening. Happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us live here on Facebook for an exciting Q&A session this evening with two of Oxnard's finest, Officer John McBride and Kevin Thompson. We are joining you live from the police station here in downtown Oxnard, and we would love to, we're going to first get to know these officers, talk a little bit about their careers and what makes them tick. But then in the last half of the half hour here, we'd love to take your questions and pose them to these officers here live on Facebook. Anything that you have on your mind regarding anything that our department does, anything police related that these two officers now in the past have been on this show live here during the week, been interviewing very specific officers within our department that are focused on things like the family protection unit or property crimes. Officers Thompson and McBride are both currently on patrol assignments. So if you have any questions that have anything to do with our patrol officers out on the street or just anything generally police related that they can answer for us here tonight, go ahead and ask them here on the Facebook feed. And don't be surprised if we don't answer them right away. As I mentioned, we're going to use the second half of this half hour to get to all the questions, but you can answer them as soon as they come into your, I'm sorry, you can ask them as soon as they come into your mind. We'll see them here on Facebook and we will answer them when the time comes. Having said that, Officers McBride and Thompson, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, man. Good to be here.
Of course. Super excited to have you guys on because I got to say, like, with both of you, I have great first impression, first memories of like the first time I met you both. So I'll do that. We'll just go alphabetically. We'll start with Officer McBride. The first time I met Officer McBride, I was training to be a dispatcher here. And when you are training in dispatch, you get to go on ride-alongs. And one of my first ride-alongs was with Officer McBride. And I just had such a great time that day. He taught me a lot about the city and what it was like to work here in the city of Oxnard as a police officer. So I'm so glad he's here to share it with our audience as well tonight. Officer McBride, what is it, if we reel it all the way back to like your earliest days that you can remember, what was it that made you want to become a police officer?
You know what, Paul? That's a funny question. I never wanted to be a police officer, to be honest.
What?
I never did actually. But as I grew up, and with my own family dynamics, things that I have gone through as a young child, into my adulthood, mistakes that I made, and just the struggles of life, and then also seeing other people and other youth. Really, the youth is what got me involved in police work. I wanted to be originally work for youth corrections and get into the heart of youths, or get to the heart of the youth and just help them overcome whatever it is, the struggles that they were dealing with in life, and try to better their situation. So when they did get back out into society, that things would be better. They have a different outlook on life, and I could really help them in that direction, go in that direction, the right direction. But actually met one of the officers here at Oxnard PD, one of our senior officers, Steve Ramirez, and he came into, I was working at a credit union, and he was telling me about Oxnard, and I got grassroots. My roots run deep here, from having been an athlete playing youth sports in the city of Oxnard. I remember playing basketball at Colonial Gym, and at the POW and the Boys and Girls Club dancing.
Wow, so you grew up here in the city?
I did. Actually, I never lived in the city of Oxnard, but I went to high school at Rio Mesa, go Spartans. And so, yeah, my connection here, especially in the realm of sports, run deep. So.
Gotcha. And how old were you when you were working at the credit union and Officer Ramirez came in and made that connection for you?
I was 24 at the time. Yeah, 24. So just got out of college, finished up my football days there, graduated. I was working at the credit union. I was actually thinking about becoming a sheriff's deputy, but got in touch with Officer Ramirez, Senior Officer Ramirez, and he was telling me about Oxnard. And I had buddies who actually worked for the department, people I grew up with from the city. And that's what really sparked my interest for Oxnard. I was like, I got to go back to the city that I love.
Now, I know we're going to get to the Facebook questions a little bit later, but I just got to address this one that popped up from Dale. Dale says Steve Ramirez was one hell of a cop. And I just got to say, he still is. He's still working. He's one of our homeless liaison officers out there. And yeah, he's amazing. Officer McBride, you mentioned playing sports in college. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Weber State University in the state of Utah.
Utah. And what did you play? You played football?
Played football. Most
Okay.
people, I played receiver, but I was a safety.
And what was it that brought you back to Ventura County after college?
This is home for me. Things are just different in other places, and I wanted to be back in the city that I was familiar with. My friends and my family are still here. I got people who live and work in the city of Oxnard, and this is where I wanted to be and serve. So that's why I came back.
What was the hiring process like for you?
The application process actually went kind of relatively quick when I went through it. Fill out the application online. Had to go through the whole process, the application portion, and then coming in and meeting with a background investigator, getting my packet, and going through the testing process. So you do the application, then you actually have the test. And then at that time, we did a physical agilities test just to kind of see where we were at and to see if we could actually handle the physical demands of this job. Passed that, and then went forward into the background process. So.
And what year was that?
2008. So 08-3 was my class.
All right. So you've been on with the department for, if my math is all right, 12 years.
12 years.
And patrol assignments the entire time?
No, I in patrol, and then I became a field training officer where I was helping other officers develop in doing this job, helping them understand the dynamics of what we do as police officers, how to treat people. And then I moved over into our special enforcement unit, which is basically our gang unit, and also our SWAT team. And then I came back to patrol. So back to
Very cool. And what would you say has been the most rewarding part of this career for you?
Training of the officers at heart, I'm a coach, just like Coach Thompson. I'm a coach, and I like helping others develop and bring the best out of them. And so that when they do the job, they can bring the best out of others and truly make a difference. So getting back into the field training program was special to my heart, but really being out in the streets and connecting with just different people from the community, from various backgrounds, dealing with different struggles or whatever, and just trying to help them and impart life and speak truth into them and just build them up and help them get through whatever traumatic situation that they're dealing with at that time is really what's rewarding. And then having kids, their family members come back and say thank you because they see the impact that you have.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, we're so glad you're here. You are an amazing officer, and please never leave again. With that, before we jump over to Officer Thompson, I just want to remind everybody that we are live here on Facebook until 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So if you have any questions for either of these officers about their careers or just being an officer on the streets here in general, go ahead and ask them right now in the Facebook feed, and we will get to them very shortly in about 7 minutes here. But Officer Thompson, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And since I started with my first impression with Officer McBride, wow. So last summer, I was working in dispatch, and I was able to help with our police department's lip sync video. And we had talked about doing, possibly getting the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders when they were here in town with the Cowboys camp to dance along with some of our officers to 24 Karat Magic. And we said, okay, well, if we're going to do this song, we need an officer who's really going to nail it. Who's that? And everybody said, Kevin Thompson. Duh. So that was the first time I met you. I had the pleasure of being the cameraman / director / editor on that. And oh man, that was so much fun. And if you haven't seen Officer Thompson in this video, you need to check it out. our Oxnard Police Department lip sync challenge video. He just rocks it. Officer Thompson, I'm so glad you're here tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's good to be here, man.
All right, now same kind of question for you. What was it? Did you first of all, did you grow up here in the city?
No, I didn't grow up here. I'm originally from Oklahoma. So
Wow, what brought you here?
my parents moved out here when I got out of school and went into the Marine Corps and stuff. So came out to California.
Your parents went into the Marine Corps, or you went into the Marine Corps?
I went into the Marine Corps.
Wow, well, thank you so much for your service. How many years did you serve?
8 years.
Wow. And so you were living, where were you stationed?
I was stationed out in Camp Pendleton in the
Okay.
reserves.
And so when did you find yourself, how did you land here in Oxnard?
Well, early in the late 80s, early 90s, I looked at the way the situation wasn't going in society, and I decided I wanted, instead of complaining about how things were going for Blacks, Hispanics, the police officers in the 90s, I decided to be a part of the solution. So I decided to join the police department. So I put myself in the police academy at Rio Hondo. And while I was in the academy, I put out applications all over Southern California, and I got picked up by Oxnard. And so I came out to Oxnard at that point.
So what year was that?
That was 1994.
And so Oxnard PD is actually the reason you came to the city.
I came to Oxnard to work for the police department for the city of Oxnard and work in the city of Oxnard, yes.
That's amazing. Did you have a family yet? Were you moving your family around, or was it just you at that point?
No, it was just me at this point.
So once you, what year was that?
That was 94. So it was about 26 years ago.
Wow, 26 years. And you better not be thinking about retirement yet.
I can see the finish line.
but can't all of us. All right. So we heard about did you have kind of the same hiring process experience that Officer McBride had back then?
Mine was slightly different because I came in as Academy complete, so I didn't have to take the physical agility and the written test. So I was able to go right to the oral board and then the background and psych and all that. So since I had already completed the academy, they figured I was already in physical condition. So I had to, bypass a couple of those processes.
And what kind of assignments have you been on in your 26 years? I'm sure there's a list of them, but what can you list the assignments that you've been on in these 26 years?
Well, I did patrol, bike team, and I spent a lot of my time with the school resource officer unit, youth services. I have a passion for working with the youth in the city and giving them role models and stuff like that. So I've done time with the youth services, gone back out to patrol, and then back into youth services.
And if I'm not mistaken, you've done some like youth coaching as well in town, yeah?
Yes, I have a passion for sports. So I love basketball and football, but basketball is where I've laid my hat on with the city of Oxnard. So I started off coaching at the Police Activities League, coaching some of the kids over there. So I always volunteer there. And then from there, I coached at Santa Clara High School and now at Oxnard High School. So I've been coaching about 26 years here in the county.
And can you tell us what has been like the most rewarding part of being Oxnard police officer for you?
The most rewarding part for me is giving back to the community, giving back and pouring into the youth because they're our future, and just being a role model, helping them out, help guiding them, keeping them on the right path, volunteering with coaching and stuff like that. And that has actually been very impactful. I didn't know it at the time, but through my years of coaching, a lot of the guys that I've coached over the years have now become police officers for the city of Oxnard, which is a pretty good rewarding thing to see, because I'm sure when they were kids, that wasn't one of the things they were thinking about, but a lot of them decided to become police officers because not only myself, but we had other officers, Sergeant Moore, Marty Meyer, Charles Woodruff, Nick Curtis, a list of other officers that have actually volunteered as coaches and helped mentor some of our youth.
And this kind of goes to both of you, whoever wants to answer it, but or maybe both of you do, if there was one thing that you could tell people that about being a police officer in this city that they might not already realize or know about our officers and the work that they do, What might that be?
Is that I would say one for me is that our officers are very trustworthy. You know, we're honest, we're hardworking, we really care about our community, and we are here to do our best to ensure that the quality of life is good for all people here in the city. And we go to work every day trying to give 150%.
Yeah, and I can just second that. We have some excellent. Our officers are great. We've been through some excellent training. And they truly care about the people that they serve in the community, and they truly want to make a difference when they're out there. I know everything that's going on in our society right now. People have a misconception about officers and their demeanor and how they act, but Oxnard PD is a good above. So hats off to my officers, all my officers out there.
Yeah. And so now the reason, I mean, of course, I would talk to you guys any chance that I got. But the reason I asked these two officers to join us here on the live show this week is you guys came to me to ask for some help putting a video together. Can you tell me about that?
You go ahead, John. You can start it.
Okay. So, our Chief Scott Whitney and also our city manager were asked to speak on a panel called The Talk that was put on by some community members here. And so we got contact with them, and it came to our attention that they had some youth and some parents had some questions about how their children or high school, college students should interact when they come in contact with the police. And so because of COVID, we were unable to actually sit down and meet with them. And so we thought, hey, you know what, this would be a great opportunity to put together something to give the citizens, not just of Oxnard, but anywhere, all of our community members, anyone who visits, comes work in the city of Oxnard, a better understanding of what we do as police officers, why we do things the way we do, and really try to build that bridge with the community.
Officer Thompson, anything to add?
The video is very important. I think that the youth today are very active in what's going on in society. So we just want to make sure that they know that we care about them and that we're here to help them in any type of situation. And their question was about traffic stops and what they should do and what are some of their rights and how they should behave and what should they expect. And so we figured, hey, no better way than to put a video together so they can have a chance to look at it and we can help them wherever they travel. Most of them are going away to colleges and stuff like that. So we want them to be safe. And we wanted their parents to know that they're safe and they know that when they're going to return home safely to them after their time in college or school.
Yeah, so I've had the just great pleasure of working with these two on this video. Got together, put a script together, we've filmed it, and we're just about ready to release it. It'll come out next week. So if you're out there and you're interested in seeing this educational, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it a lesson, but like maybe a little snippet of great information from the guys who know it best. Am I right? How would you describe it shortly?
Yeah, it's like a good educational video to give people a better understanding, some insight as to what we do and how we can come together to have a better working relationship with each other.
Yeah, that partnership between law enforcement and the community is very important.
And that's what I loved about the idea when we first started talking about it, was this opportunity to share with the community why we do things the way that we do, or why you do things the way that you do, why there are certain methods that you use and the reasons behind that. So I'm very excited to share it with everybody, and thank you guys for helping put it together.
You're welcome.
I think, Paul, just in regards to that, the hope is that after this video, people from the community will come to us, to our agency, and if they have questions about things or if they want to see other stuff, talk to us, because we're open and we need that community back and forth so we can better things and give people a better understanding. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've really loved about doing these every week, is just like having the opportunity for anyone to come on and just ask us questions and have our officers answer them right here firsthand. So with that, we'll turn over to the questions. I can tell you, most of what I'm seeing here on the chat is just everybody who loves you coming on to say, oh my gosh, I just appreciate these two so much. One question here. Oh, this is a juicy one. Carlos asks, Crown Vic or Ford Explorer, and why?
I'm gonna say Ford Explorer just because it sits higher, and I'm tall, so getting down in that Crown Vic started to hurt my knees after some time. So I prefer the Explorer.
Yeah, I think they both have some benefits. The Crown Vic has a little bit more pickup power, a little quick, but the Explorer definitely is more comfortable.
Yes.
All right. Oscar says, shout out to Officer Thompson, Oscar Gallaga. I think he was the school officer back at Blackstock Junior High 2003, 2005.
Probably was, yep.
Sound right? Wow.
Hey, how you doing, Oscar?
Blast from the past there. Oh, some retired officers on here. Sarah Shobe saying hello.
Hey, Sarah.
Commander Miranda's trying to get you to retire, Kevin. Don't listen to him.
You must be enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it.
But again, if anybody out there has any questions for either of these officers, we'd love to answer them for you. Denise says, McBride and Thompson are great role models. Thank you so much. That's what a good officer is, being a role model. Yeah. These guys, you guys are just so appreciated by the community. And it's very apparent here on the chat. Here's one. What are the current trends we should be watching out for in our community? So anything lately out there on patrol that seems to be an uptick or a trend that people should consider?
Yeah, don't keep your car running with the keys in the ignition and the windows down or the doors unlocked. Just take your keys out of the car. You know, when you run in and out of the house, you don't need any stolen cars.
Officer Thompson, anything over there in Beat 21 where you've been working?
No, not really. Just standing out, when you're dealing with people out there, just be a good witness. If you see something, say something. Don't be afraid to call, and we will respond and take a look at it. So keep your eyes open because we can't see everything. So if you see something, let us know. We'll come out and take a look.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to call. And, you don't have to dial 911. You can call our non-emergency phone line. I'm sure you can find it on the Google, but it's 805-385-7740. If you see something suspicious that might not be 911, need a 911 response, but definitely give us a call. Let us know what's going on. There's also a method to report suspicious activity in your neighborhood on our website, oxnardpd.org. It's anonymous. You can just tell us what you're seeing. If it's something that's a trend in your neighborhood you'd like us to take a look at, it's a real simple way to bring our attention to something. But Officer McBride hit on something that's been over the past couple of months, super huge, is just this uptick in stolen vehicles and how just the vast majority of them can be prevented. Simple methods like obviously not leaving your car running, but the club. Do people still use the club out there?
No, not too many.
But,
I haven't seen the club in a while.
I actually just want to get one to hang on my wall as like a super.
Frame it, put it in a shadow box. Noemi asks, how has COVID impacted response times? And I just broadened the question to how has COVID impacted how you guys respond to calls?
We still respond to calls like we did in the past. The only difference is that officers are wearing their personal protection, gloving, masks to keep ourselves safe and also keep our community safe. But our calls are still done by priorities and officers are dispatched according to that. But our response times, we're still trying to keep those down.
Yeah, and one thing that also I'll mention is just some people say, oh, it takes so long. Well, our calls are prioritized based on, the priority system that's been in place based on the severity of what's going on. And if it's happening now or if it's over and the person who did it is gone. So I would just say if you do call to report something that's already happened and the person has left, you might experience a longer wait than if you're seeing something happen right now. And having worked in dispatch, I know that it's not always obvious for the concept for people to understand, but just know that we'll be sure to respond. We always do. We never just don't go, but we'll be there as soon as we can. What has been the biggest challenge for you guys in this COVID time, as far as like being on patrol? I mean, aside from like having to carry all the personal protective equipment around and just be super cautious when dealing with people, has there been anything else that you're like, oh, I can't wait till this pandemic has passed so we can get rid of XYZ?
The hot mask on a hot day, man. It's tough behind those hot masks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you're like this and you're like trying to talk to people and all you smell is your own breath, let's be real. It's pretty.
Yeah, I think we're all excited for those masks to go, but I can't imagine with you guys out there on a hot day, especially after like chasing somebody down or something if you have to. All right, looks like here we go. One last question, and then I'll do rapid fire before we wrap it up. How young? What's the age limit for ride-alongs? Do you know?
I think they start at 18, but there are some exceptions that can be made for explorers and stuff after the parents have given permission to sign the waivers.
Yeah. And another one slipped in here. Edgar, who's actually testing for the department, he wants to know for each of you, what was the hardest part of the academy for you?
I equate the academy to it's like going to school and playing sports. You got schoolwork that you got to take care of, and there's going to be learning domains that you have to take care of by the academy. But then there's also the physical portion of it that you have to step your game up and make sure you're physically fit to do this job. It is a very demanding job, so it's staying on top of your education, your learning domains, remaining focused, and then make sure you're getting some adequate sleep and you're eating well, and I think you'll be all right.
Officer Thompson?
When you're in the academy, the toughest part is just making sure that you stay totally focused on the academy and what your goal is. I think what catches people sometimes is they still want to have a social life. They still want to go out and do things, and they're not focused and concentrating on the academy itself. So it's important at that time you have to sacrifice and understand what your purpose is and why you're doing what you're doing. Everything else can be on the back burner. Only thing to be number one in your life at that time is everything is about the academy and staying focused for that.
Very good. All right, we got a couple minutes left here. I'm going to do rapid fire. We'll go alphabetical again. Officer McBride, same question to both of you, but I'm sorry, Officer McBride, you got to go first. First concert ever was what band and where?
Ooh, it was Brandy. I think I went to the Brandy concert, and it was out in Del Mar, the Del Mar Fair in San Diego. I forgot how old I was. I was young.
Officer Thompson.
Janet Jackson.
Where'd you see her?
Saw her down in LA.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember what venue?
Huh?
Do you remember what venue?
Time it was the Forum.
Okay.
At the Forum in Inglewood.
Yeah, I think it's still the Forum.
Yeah.
But it's the Great Western Forum now, or at least it was back in I don't know when the Lakers played there. Officer McBride, first car, what was it? Where'd you get it?
I was driving a Ford Contour. Where'd I get it from? I forgot where I got it from. I think I just bought it off a lot somewhere, but Ford Contour.
What color was it?
White. It was good to me until we got in an accident. So
you weren't so good to it. Officer Thompson.
I had a pea green Pinto hatchback. It was given to me from my sister.
Pea green.
Yeah.
Nice. That's one of those memorable ones.
Yeah.
There's some cars out there you go, oh, hey, there's that car. There's not very many of them out there. There are a few. Officer McBride, favorite meal?
Ooh, lasagna. Easy. Any type of lasagna. I love lasagna. Officer
Thompson?
Hey, I love me some good fried chicken. That's typical, but that's what I like.
What it is.
Officer McBride, favorite sports teams?
Chicago the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears, LA Lakers, and I adopted the Rams recently. So that's it.
Thompson.
Hey, 49ers, Lakers, and Dodgers.
Dodgers, yeah, Dodgers. Yeah.
And last but not least, what song are you jamming out to right now? Not right now, but like in your car.
Oh man, I don't listen to music. I got too much studying to do right now. So,
What are you studying for?
we got promotions and things coming up. So,
Oh, okay. No music, only study. Brain food. Officer Thompson,
Hey, I like my smooth jazz and old school.
who are your favorite artists in smooth jazz?
My favorite artist in smooth jazz, well, I like trumpet players. So, I have like Rick Braun, Chris Bodie, I like David Sanborn, saxophone players. I like
Yeah.
Wayman Tisdale from the basses. I like a lot of different people. So it's good to go.
Very good. Well, we're past 6 now, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining us and spending time with us here on Facebook, connecting with our community. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you guys have done and continue to do. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure.
All right. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of Facebook Live Question and Answers, bringing it straight to you.